TOGAF, the Open Group Architecture Framework, is a framework for enterprise architecture that provides a comprehensive approach for designing, planning, implementing, and managing an organization's information architecture, technology architecture, and business architecture. While large organization needs a structured approach for carrying out their operations and for managing various components of their enterprise architecture, including the business processes, information systems, their tech related infra, and of course, the human assets and the human interaction related aspects. And when we structure and streamline our approach with the help of a common language and methodology, that all stakeholders can understand, and that can help in describing, organizing, and managing the various components of an organization's architecture. That arrangement is called an enterprise architecture framework. Enterprise architecture frameworks typically include a set of principles, guidelines, certain standards that provide a framework for describing the various components of the enterprise architecture. They also provide a set of processes and tools for developing and managing enterprise architecture artifacts like diagrams, models, and documentation. And TOGAF is one such framework. The Wikipedia definition of TOGAF says that the Open Group Architecture Framework is one of the most used framework for enterprise architecture. And TOGAF is a high-level approach to design. It is typically modeled at four levels: business, application, data, and technology. It relies heavily on modularization, standardization, and already existing proven technologies and products. If we talk a bit about its background, TOGAF was developed somewhere in 1995 by the Open Group, a global consortium of over 840 member organizations that offers a number of services, including promotion of open and vendor neutral technology, their standards, certifications, and the best practices in IT. The framework is said to be based on the United States Department of Defense TAFIM, Technical Architecture Framework for Information Management, and Capgemini's Integrated Architecture Framework IAF. As of 2016, as per the Open Group's claim, TOGAF is employed by 80% of Global 50 companies and 60% of Fortune 500 companies. And these are the number of 2016. The latest states could be a bit higher. In simple words, TOGAF is a vendor neutral framework that provides a common language and methodology for describing, organizing, and managing enterprise architecture artifacts. If we talk about its internals, the key components of TOGAF include there are basically four main components in a TOGAF framework: the architecture development method, or ADM as we call it, the architecture content framework, the architecture capability framework, and the TOGAF reference models. The ADM, architecture development method, is the core of TOGAF framework that provides a step-by-step approach to developing an enterprise architecture. The architecture content framework provides a common language and structure for enterprise architecture artifacts, while the architecture capability framework outlines the processes and resources necessary to implement and manage enterprise architecture. And finally, the TOGAF reference models provide standard models and templates for creating enterprise architecture artifacts. The first version of TOGAF was published by Open Group in 1995, and the current version of TOGAF certification portfolio is built upon the TOGAF Standard version 9.2 and the TOGAF Standard 10th edition. Sometimes the question comes to the mind that is the TOGAF or is following the TOGAF standard is possible in an agile environment? And the answer for that is yes. While TOGAF is a highly structured approach, it can accommodate other methodology as well, like Agile and DevOps. In an Agile environment, the TOGAF framework can be used to provide a high level view of the enterprise architecture, which can be used to guide and inform your Agile development processes. Particularly the ADM, the architecture development method in TOGAF framework, can be adopted to an agile approach, with each iteration focused on a specific aspect of the enterprise architecture. TOGAF can also help to ensure that the agile development process is aligned with the overall enterprise architecture, avoiding the risk of creating technical debt or siloed systems that may not fit within the larger architecture. However, it is important to note that there is no one size fits all approach to using TOGAF in agile environments.